Now, the Ghana Police Service on Thursday secured a restraining order from a high court to bar some agitated youth from embarking on a planned protest this Sunday. This was after national security officers met the conveners of the Fix the Country movement to dialogue over concerns which were built up during the social media uproar. The order granted by Justice Ruby Ayete prevents the group from taking such action on the said day or any other date until the restriction on public gathering is lifted. While the Economic Fighters League has noted it will seek redress to set aside the restraining order from the High Court. A member of that organization, Hadi Yakubu, joins us via Zoom to explain their next move. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Now, have you begun any legal processes yet? Hello, Hadi, if you can unmute, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Right. So, yeah, good afternoon, and good afternoon to all our viewers. I just want to correct that it is not just the Economic Fighters League going to court. It is the whole Fix the Country coalition, if you like to call it. It's not really one organization. It's an amalgamation of so many organizations and people across the country. And to answer your question...
Well, if you have begun any legal processes yet?
Yes. Our lawyers are working very hard around the clock to make sure that they file the case at the Supreme Court today to seek the relief of the court to set aside that injunction. Which we believe is a very strange injunction indeed, an injunction that prescribes citizens of the country from holding a protest on a particular day and even in perpetuity. It absolutely doesn't make sense. And I don't think it is constitutional for any court to assume the authority to perpetually bar citizens of the country from exercising their political or social or whatever rights that are guaranteed under the Constitution.
So while some members of the group were in a meeting with security officers yesterday, this injunction was being secured. How did that make you feel after stepping out of that meeting to later realize that this was actually going on behind the scenes?
Well, clearly it was a bad faith move, as I said yesterday. I think the purpose of the meeting was to get us to back down on our protest and demands. And when that did not work, they then resorted to the court. Of course, I mean, we've always known that leaders in this country are, not comfortable with being asked to account for the mantle that has been given to them. And therefore, they will always seek several ways to make sure that they suppress whatever dissent.
All right, we quickly have to...
We were not surprised, but it was a very bad faith move.
All right. We quickly have to wrap up on this. Today is Friday. You're hoping to do this on Sunday. What happens if you're not able to go through the legal process? Are you going to risk being arrested or jailed over this protest?
Well, I said yesterday that we respect the injunction. As law-abiding citizens, we will not disobey the court.
All right.
But the court is also not going to prevent us from voicing out our displeasure. So we have other means of protest that we are going to do on Sunday. It may not necessarily be a physical protest.
All right.
It will be a protest all the same.
All right, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your time this afternoon. Hadi Yakubu is with the Economic Fighters League. Well, lawyer Samson Lardy Anyenini has described that ex-parte injunction granted by the High Court Judge Justice Ruby Ayete as strange.
On this particular injunction, there is everything strange about the length of the subsistence of the prohibition as granted by the court. With the greatest of respect to the court, there is a problem.
On public gatherings are listed. Look, the law passed by Parliament very lousy legislation passed by them which empowers the president to issue restrictions is not pandemic specific. All over the world, they have passed pandemic specific legislation, which legislations die as long as the pandemic dies. This one, we have passed it as a substantive law. So it is pandemic neutral, and anybody can use it for eternity. So if you say until it is over, it means that what you are giving could actually be in perpetuity. And that is where I think that if they went back to the court, they will get the court to vacate this order, because this order does not comply with the sound principles of law as even enunciated by the Supreme Court. According to the Supreme Court, you can't grant an ex-parte injunction and make the order appear as if there is no limit to the order. So this is bizarre, this is strange, and it ought not happen to the exercise of the democratic right.
To the phones now, we speak to Dr. Amache Boateng, a political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Good afternoon, Doc. Thank you for your time. So, from a political point of view, is it really a right move to stop this protest?
Please come again.
I'm asking from a political point of view if it is a right move to stop this protest.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity, and let me say good afternoon to your viewers. Actually, it's only a way to postpone the protest, because this came up naturally, spontaneously from the system. So to the extent that the causal element remains, the desire of the potential protesters to really go public will also stay. When it happens like this, the action of the police simply deepen the desire, on the part of the protesters to go public. So in a way, it is being postponed. And I'd like to say that it doesn't inure, to the benefit of the government at all. You want to see the government in a democratic polity like ours facilitate such a move. So it was good that the National Security Coordinator met them to dialogue. If that didn't really go through, then he could have also worked with the police to find a way to facilitate, the whole, the protest. But to use some sort of technicality, the way we're looking at it now, to stop it, you only sort of add to their desire to go public, and then you also simply end up allowing the number of people who are in this position to grow. So you eventually you're going to have many citizens joining, the movement. I don't think eventually it will, it will go well for the government of the day.
Doc, finally and briefly, so the government of the day has a challenge, which is to try and manage the COVID-19 situation we have, which thankfully has been on the low for quite some time. And also, as you say, allow people to express their democratic rights. How do they go about balancing this, sir?
That is where dialogue was necessary. I think they could proceed with the numbers so that they could get these organizers to agree to limited, numbers, and then strict observance of, the protocol in terms of distancing, the individuals distancing, and allowing the police to be with them. When you have a public protest, you don't necessarily need numbers to make the case you want to make. Eventually, you expect them to, present a document to the government, making their positions formally, publicly known, and of course also making copies available to the media, so the rest of the country and the rest of the world would know about the issue that they, are protesting against. It's possible to get some such thing, underway. It's possible if really they wanted to, sort it out that way.
I appreciate your time here this afternoon. Dr. Amache Boateng is a political science lecturer at the KNUST.